Cheech here with Fly Fish Food, and we're going to tie an awesome, simple streamer fly called the Sculpinator, and it's from Fulling Mill. Check it out.
Dude, that's a big brown, bro!
Alright, we're going to tie a Sculpinator. If any of you are looking for kind of a moderate-sized streamer that's easy to tie, look no further. It's a sculpin pattern with quite a bit of weight, rides inverted. So it's a really awesome fly to have in the box, and you can tie a whole bunch of them in no time. We're using this new Fulling Mill 2225. This is a 3x long hook, and it is Teflon coated. So that means that when the fish eats it, it's going to be super pokey in its mouth. All right, so we're just going to dress the hook pretty well. The reason why I'm dressing this more than I normally would is because this is a really slippery coating on this. It's not really a big deal once you get thread on it, but it goes into the fish's mouth quite a bit easier. All right, step one, we're just going to take a normal zonker strip. We're not tying in the tail first. That's actually our second step. So if I take this, and you can use cross-cut zonker or normal zonker on this, it doesn't really matter. It all faces the same way once it gets in the water. And I'm going to wrap that up to about right here. Okay, and I'm just going to use my magic rotary features here, and we're going to pretend like we did it the hard way. All right, not really. Use rotary if you got it. Okay, so we're going to tie that one down. No big deal. That's going to all just kind of flow right in the water. Use some of your own DNA evidence to smooth that back. All right, for the rest of the fly, it's going to be tied upside down. Okay, so now we're going to tie in the tail. So I've taken this big game strip, and if you just tie this in, there's way too much bulk here. So I go in and I stick the tips of my scissors under the leather, and I make it tapered. Okay, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to say, okay, I want my fly to be about that long. If you're wondering, yes, I did pre-measure and pre-cut this for your viewing pleasure. All right, so see that? I just poked it through the hook. I'll take it out of the vise now and replace it back in. All right, so once that's in, I'm just going to pull it over the rest of this rabbit. One little hack is if you grab these little strands here, you can really get it tight to where you need to tie it down. And I'm actually going to grab a few more up, create a nice little part there just to keep this tie down somewhat small. It's not the biggest deal because we're going to put a sculpin helmet over there. So you can see we've built in a whole bunch of bulk on the top and the body, and then it should taper back. Okay, so on this fly also for the wings or for the gills or whatever you want to call it, we're going to use some soft hackle. So this one is actually a Hairline Grizzly soft hackle marabou patch, and it is dyed yellow. So if you buy the dyed yellow one, see, dyed yellow, and this stuff was nice and gray when they dyed it, so it gives off this really cool olive color. So I'm going to grab maybe 2 to 3 of those puffs per side, and we're going to make little fins. Did I call them wings before, Brig?
You call them gills.
You're supposed to correct me on this stuff. So see how nice and bushy that is?
Oh, I thought you meant downstairs.
What? Oh.
Go ahead.
Brigham, we're in the moment here, dude. Sorry, guys. I'll try not to talk to Brig. His brother Cade is in here, too. They're like the Utah brothers from Ocean's 11. I kid you not. Now send me your sympathy. All right. So we tied those in. See how nice and bushy that stayed on that side. So we're going to do another section just like that on the other side. We find a nice and bushy piece of marabou. Public service announcement. Marabou is not spelled with an I. There, I said it at the end. All right, so we're going to take this, we're going to push this over on the other side. Exact same tie-in point. If you notice, I'm kind of being messy up here because, you know, we're going to use a sculpin helmet. Every fly tier's secret hack if they don't know how to do a nice and tidy head like me. Meaning I don't do a nice and tidy head. All right, so we're going to grab some of these more normal looking feathers from the base of this same patch. We grab 2 of those, and these will have a little bit more yellow highlight in them. Okay, so here you have a little sculpin fin looking jobber. You could tie them going outward. Let's do that. I wasn't going to tie them that way, but why would you not? You want action on them. We're going to tie that sucker just like that. So we're going to tie one of those on each side. If I tie in just the stem, it's going to want to roll like that. Okay, I forgot. So if I back that off and I tie down a little bit of the feather and just tie it directly onto that shank, it's going to sit way nicer. Maybe. There you go. Just like that. And just so you know, this is all going to get pushed back with that Sculpin helmet. So we're just going to get those in as good as we can. Maybe if I stop trying to explain how to do it, I'll just be able to do it. Okay, so once that side is in, we'll just do the other side. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing a loose wrap, and then when I want to push that feather into the hook, I'm just kind of putting all my tension here, right? So on the other side, I put all my tension going toward me, and that just sinks it to the hook shank without a lot of rotating pressure. So that's an engineering term we use, Brig, rotating pressure. So as you can see, I have a big gnarly glob of stuff up here, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's going to help the durability of our fly. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to whip finish. A finger whip here is good because we're going to glue the heck out of this thing. So you can see this just looks like a gnarly mess right now. This is where this all comes together. This is the, what do they call it? The fish skull bandito sculpin head. They changed the name of these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this head and I'm just going to pre-fit it on the fly. Okay, so it's going to sit about like that. You're going to want to have enough hook to tie some thread on to lock it in, and it's going to kind of look just like that. Okay, so now that I know that it works, because if that doesn't work and you try to put that on and it glues on before you get to your hook eye, it's not good. And if it rotates on you like this, so when it rotates like that, like I just had, that just means I need to sop it with super glue, and I'm going to do that anyway because I'm going to put that helmet on there. So that's quite a bit of super glue. I'm just using Z-Mint. You can use whatever you like. If you use the Loctite gel, you better have good reflexes because it is fast. Okay, so there's that. We're just going to bring our thread back in now, and we're going to just wind some wraps here. The cool thing is because this eye kicks up the way it does, this thing rides so nice as a jig. And I use a 3X long hook because there is quite a bit of bulk at the front of this, but by the time it gets all the way back here, it's pretty much just tail, and you'll have plenty of good hookups. All right, we are going to whip finish this. And now let's work on these eyes. And I'm going to just make a tiny dab of super glue in each of the eye sockets. Just got to make sure that it will barely cover the base of that. And then take your eyes, and you can pre-glue these. I can never hold the actual head in my hands. So I like to do it on the vise. It just gives me two hands to hold this instead of having to hold the helmet or whatever. All right. So a little hack here is you can take either Loon's soft head or liquid fusion and coat this. You coat the whole head with that stuff, and it is the most durable fly. The eyes won't pop off. With these skull head flies, that's the big thing, is like how long will the eyes last? But that is a way to get them to last forever. So you would just take soft head, coat the whole thing. But this is the Sculpinator, or at least a slight variation, the way that we would do it. All right, so we have a bulky fly up front, and as you pull it down, it goes slimmer and slimmer. So rides great in the water, gets down, but there you go. Little Sculpinator. It's a fulling mill fly pattern.